my love, welcome back again for another video. My name is Ashley Anderson and I create content on beauty, fashion, and self-development. Today's video is going to be 10 things that you need to let go of for 2024, so let's just go ahead and get into it. I think December is always the month of self-reflection, to consider the things that we consider, who we are as individuals, how we have changed and different from others, and also consider what is it that we are willing to put up with and not put up with regarding the upcoming year. And it does go deeper than just setting goals. It's a matter of self-reflection because we always want to assess where we are in our lives. I personally think for me that self-reflection helps me to figure out my well-being of who I am as a person. It helps me to think about some of the things to really dive in to figure out what is it that's bothering me. What is it that I feel like is no longer serving me, and what should I let go? Or what are some of the things that I feel like I want to work towards growth and actually have a healthier and a more fulfilling life? When you hold on to things that are no longer serving you, it can hinder your life in certain ways. Like maybe it's a bad relationship that you're in, whether it's a friendship or certain relationships that you have with people it could be family, it could be toxic work environments, any of those things that's gonna affect you, not just emotionally, but actually affect your health too as well. Because I've been in situations like that where a job was so stressful that it really did affect my health. When you use this time to really assess what is it that's bothering you, you can actually come up with solutions towards those steps. So the first thing you need to let go of for the upcoming year is relationships that is no longer serving you. So you want to explore and dive deep and really think about the relationships that you have with people, whether it's family, friends, co-workers, people you meet on the street, girl, child, anyone. If there are signs of toxicity, manipulation, lack of support, negativity, take consideration of all those things. Sometimes, yes, we are all imperfect. I'm not saying anyone has to be perfect, or if they say one thing the wrong way that you should completely cut them off, unless that's just you. But is this person always toxic? Is this person always negative? It could be. That's a difference between someone maybe they're going through something and they have a stressful day at work and they may come home and say something negative. Okay, well, I understand you was stressed out at work, but if that's your characteristic, which is a very bad characteristic of you being negative, negative Nancy, or you're a manipulator and all those other things, then yes, it's completely time to cut them off. And it's sad because you may have had a relationship with these people for years. It could be a friendship, like, oh, we've been friends since we were 12 years old. Baby, sometimes if you've been friends with someone for so long, it's completely understandable that you may have grown out of that person. You have evolved into an adult. And so sometimes some people don't want to change. They don't want to grow. They don't want to get better. They just content in what they are and who they are as an individual. By all means, nothing wrong with that. That's what they want for themselves. But if you are on a path to self-development and confidence and building up and improving your life, then these are some things that you really have to have a hard discussion with yourself. Like, can I deal with this person in my life, or will I thank myself later because I have evolved and became the person who I truly want to be? Or is this person really just holding me back? Because if they're really just going to be holding you back with all this toxicity and all this manipulation and yada yada, then honey, it's really going to get to a point where you really just have to cut them off, and it's only going to be for the better. Tip number 2 would be consider jobs and careers that are no longer serving you. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go ahead and call your job and tell them that you ain't coming in tomorrow because you just quit. I mean, if you're in that position, then go ahead, but I'm not recommending it, because I'm the type of person when you're younger, it's so much easier to just quit your job because you may stay at home with your parents, or you may have a partner and who's like, okay, well, I cover the bills, or you don't really have that much responsibility when you're younger. But when you get older, it's like you got to think about it a little bit differently. Like you may have people, you may have kids, you may have people that depends on you to make an income. Now, the smart way if you're older would be to come up with a plan to get out of the job that's no longer serving you. Maybe you thought that this job was going to turn around. Like, hey, maybe new management is going to change things around. Maybe, you know, we have a new director or a new boss or supervisor, or maybe I can go to HR and maybe they can, you know, make some progress in such things. Or maybe because you just felt so stuck that you like, I've been involved in this job for 20, 30, 50 something years, and I plan on retiring with this job. And I'm not saying there's such thing as a perfect job, because there's no such thing. I mean, for some people it probably is, but 9 times out of 10, there's no such thing as a perfect job. Every job, every career, any doing the things that you love, is going to have a downside. It's going to have something that's negative, but it's have to come to a point where can you be, if you're happy with a job 7 times out of 10, I feel like that's a success. Because these days, a lot of people are working miserable jobs just to make ends meet and to put food on the table and provide for their families. Like I said, I'm not telling you to go out there and quit your job. I'm saying come up with an actionable plan that can help you transition to doing something that you really want to do. Maybe your goal is to go back to school, but you have to work. And okay, but can you take night classes? Can you take classes part-time? Can you reduce your work hours so that you can transition? Or maybe you can just completely go to a different job and come up with an actual goal that you have with your family or friends, whoever. Speak to your partner about it. What ways that you can do to transition from doing something that you hate to doing something that you actually love. I'm just saying, write it down, think about it. Like I said, don't call on people and just quit. Come up with the plan to transition from that job to another job. Now, I know some of you probably saying, well, jobs don't give us a 2-week notice when they're about to fire us. Why should I give them 2-week notice that I'm about to leave? Honey, you don't want to burn your bridges with every single job that you've been to, because I'm not saying that it's not okay to have hops and dashes and everything like that on your resume. But when it's going to get to a certain point where you need to just grow up and just make more actionable decisions, better life choices, mature a little bit. I'm not saying that you don't take any of this I'm saying the wrong way. I'm saying these things out of love and to help you and to guide you. But it's going to get to a point where you may find yourself in a predicament that you didn't think you was going to be in. Like, let's say you about to just dash up out of a job, you don't need them, yada, 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 and all of a sudden something that you thought was going to fall through for you actually didn't. And now you without a job and rent is due on the first. Like, how are you going to pay your bills? Now you got to crawl back to that job with your tail tucked between your legs, asking for your position back so that you can, you know, pay your bills back, because you be darned if you end up on the streets and you can't go back home to your mom and dad depending on your situation. I'm just saying we have to be smart about how we're going to deal with certain things. Okay, tip number 3 of something that we need to let go is living for someone else. Now, in my past, I think it's safely for me to admit that I felt like growing up, I had to make my mom proud of the things that I was doing in my life, because I feel like she didn't have the same circumstances or the same predicament that I had when I was growing up. She had me when she was her senior year of high school, when she was 18. And so I feel like I had to live for my mom so that she can see the things that I have done and I have accomplished. But I think that's just me having the older child syndrome. We kind of feel like we have to be the responsible one. Like, we can't really mess up. We can't really, do yada, yada, yada or do whatever we want to do compared to our younger siblings, because we are the one who's supposed to set the example. And for some of you, that could not be the case. It could be that you come from a family that wants the best for you, that wants you to go to a certain school, to have a certain career. And at the end of the day, it may not be something that you have absolutely no passion for, but you're doing it because you feel pressured by your family members in order to make them proud. And for one, baby, I feel so sorry for you. I really do. And at the same time, is that when are you going to start living for yourself? When is the time or the chance that you're going to have to make yourself happy? Because at the end of the day, just think about it. We have to work until we retire. The retirement age these days mostly is the age of 67. So if you went to college at 18, graduated at 22, maybe you went to go get a master's degree and that took about another year or two, work the same job for your whole entire life for the next 40 years, 40 plus years. If you have to do that same job day in and day out, and you have kind of like no say so because you've been pressured by your family members, when are you going to start living for yourself? Because it's going to get to a point where it's going to start affecting your health, start affecting your mentality. You're going to start lashing out at people that you care about or people at the job because you're under so much stress. When is it going to be a point where you actually step up for yourself and speak for yourself and say, you know what, as much as I love you and appreciate everything that you have done for me, I need to live my own life. I need to make my own decisions. I want to be able to do what makes me happy. This is a time to say, you know what? Wiping my hands clean, new year, new me. I'm no longer, as of now, I'm no longer going to be doing anything to serve you. I'm going to start serving myself. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be a selfish person, but I need to start putting me first and do what makes me happy. If you wanted a doctor in the family, you go be a doctor. If you want a lawyer in the family, how about you go do it? But no longer will I serve you and have you live vicariously through me, because I have to do what's going to make me happy. Tip number 4 that we're going to let go is things that we cannot control. Honey, things are going to happen to you in this life a lot. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But we cannot control every single thing that happens to us. Things are going to be outside of that control. When we think about and focus on every little thing that could go wrong or that has gone wrong, it produces so much stress and anxiety and start affecting our health overall. We need to be able to develop resilience and adaptability in order to get through those moments and times where we feel like, okay, I tried to make it real early for this job interview that I've been wanting for so long, but I got stuck in traffic. I got gun caught in my hair. I tripped and fell. I missed my bus. I didn't have enough money to catch a taxi. I had to walk the rest of the way. It started raining. I didn't have an umbrella. All these things that is not in our control. Just because one thing happened, it's like a domino effect. Every little thing start happening. So then it's like when you wake up and one bad thing happened, everything else start happening right after that. And we start focusing on every little thing that can ever possibly go bad. And we start thinking that maybe our entire life and existence is going to be like this. But it's not that things won't happen. You're just having a bad moment or a bad day. It's not going to be this way. I promise you, it's not going to be like this tomorrow, the next day, or the day after that. And while we're thinking about that and talking about this, that goes along with tip number 6. To drop all of the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yes, you should have done this. You could have done that. Things would have been differently. If I would have had this would have happened. When we focus so much on the past, we can never live in the moment and enjoy the present or even make plans for the future, because we're so caught up. Well, if he didn't break up with me 5 years ago, I would have been married and had kids. Well, I should have just tolerated being with this person. Or if I would have stayed at that job, I probably would have a lot more money in retirement right now, even though it was just a bad job and it was just so toxic for me. When we let go of all the negativity, let go of that bomb, we would have so much pressure off of us and have a lot more of a lighter mood. We cannot keep dealing with things, all the mistakes that we had in the past, all of the decisions we made. Those same decisions are similar situations that you're going to have in the present or in the future. But look at those mistakes and those decisions as a way that you can use as a guide for your present or for your future, as a lesson. Or also use it as a way of, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to grow and I'm going to move on. Because the more I keep thinking about the past, I keep leaning on the past and all this. The past is in the past, honey. It's not serving you anymore. It's time to let go, let God, and move on. It is what it is at this moment, and just keep moving on. Number 7 of what we're going to let go for 2024 is our limiting beliefs. When it comes to the limiting beliefs, it's really just a matter of reframing our mind. When we have negative thoughts about our limiting beliefs, it can affect our self-esteem and our decision-making process. If we always believe that we are, let's say I'm negative, I'm ugly, I'm short, I'm fat, I'm bald, I'm this, I'm that. If we keep living in those moments, in those insecurities, it's not going to do anything to help us build our self-confidence, build our self-esteem, change the way we think and feel about ourselves. Sometimes just even having a little bit, reframing our mind and say, oh, I have no confidence. If we just change that little bit part of ourselves and reframe our thinking to say that, no, I am a good person. Think about the good qualities of yourself. I'm a kind person. I'm a nice person. I'm thoughtful. I'm gracious, I'm this, I'm that. When we focus on, yes, that is true about ourselves, and yes, or at least, yes, that's something I can work towards, of having what the Bible calls a fruitage of the Spirit. When we work towards that positivity within us and reframe our mind and reframe our thinking, we will have such a better aspect on life. I encourage you to have more mindfulness and have more self-awareness. And I also want to emphasize the need for self-affirmations and positive talk. And for those moments when you are, let's say you're around someone who are just filled of negativity or just having a negative moment and their energy is just rubbing off on you, change that mentality. If they say something, lash out and say something, you're such this, you're such that, write that down as a lie and come up with something more positive, like, no, that's a lie, because I know I am gracious, I know I am kind. Flip every negative reaction with a positive reaction. For number 8, the next thing that we need to get rid of for 2024 is FOMO, or the fear of missing out. When we get FOMO, we start comparing ourselves and start to get a sense of jealousy and envy. Our fear of missing out can lead us to impulsiveness and unsatisfying decisions. One of the biggest ways we can get FOMO is by following certain people on social media. As much as I really love the Kardashians and I really love their show and try to keeping up with them, these days Ashley cannot keep up with them. I have to stop following certain people who are, let's say that I wanted to have a certain career by now. And this person, I feel like they're just living my life. They going on luxury trips. They have a nice car. Even, yes, some of these people could just be putting up a front. It's a really good front. And for me, I'm just soaking it all in. Like, man, I wish I had a Louis Vuitton bag. Man, I wish I was in Paris right now doing Fashion Week. All of those little things, we feed off of that, and we just have a fear of FOMO because we start comparing ourselves and we start realizing that our day 1 is somebody else's year 20 or day 30, or we are all on different journeys in our lives. So what someone is going through, we cannot compare ourselves to that. Like, yes, do I really wish I was a full-time creator, an influencer with 100K followers and making a full-time income and leave my 9 to 5 right now? Of course. Do I wish I was married and had kids right now? Of course. When I see other people who are in loving relationships or have the career that I want or going on luxury, trips and stuff like that, a part of me wish I was living their life and doing all those things? Yes, of course. And when I follow certain people on social media, it makes me subconsciously start feeling like I am a failure, or why, I haven't achieved this by now. Why is my luck so slow? Do God hate me? And why is this? And the class opened up and God said, I hate you, Ashley. All this type of things that's going on that are absolutely not true at all because of fear of missing out, because of FOMO. And so when we get rid of things that we're feeding into and start feed it on something that's a little bit more enjoy life in the moment, soak it up, all this. People who are more positive followers, positive thinking, not things that just what everyone's doing on social media and being distracted with all of that. We can change our mindset and change our thinking. And like I said, in this upcoming year, we're not doing that no more. We're not. Which also leads me to tip number 9, which is clutter. So while you're cleaning up your social media accounts, have you also ever thought about your mentality is a lot more different when your space is clean? Never realized that, especially when I'm having a really bad day. If I just spend 15 minutes of cleaning, whether it's just picking things up off the floor, putting the clothes in the hamper, putting the dishes in, and take the dishes out the sink and put it in the dishwasher. They didn't have to cut it on. I mean, you might as well cut it on if you're gonna put it in the dishwasher. But still, just doing things like that, just 15 minutes and my space is just clean. If you feel like 15 minutes is too long for you, or you don't know, set a timer. Do 30 minutes. If it's too short, do 30 minutes. But just tidying up your space, it's like you subconsciously just freeing up space in your mind and just decluttering your mind, and you're able to think a lot more smoother, a lot more clearer, for a better term. When you declutter your physical space, you're able to have a more positive impact on your mental well-being. And since we're on this topic of decluttering our space, tip number 10 would be to get rid of things that no longer bring you joy. Now this one could be a little bit tricky because it's much farther than just decluttering your friendships, your space, anything in life that is not bringing you joy. Maybe you have an expensive car note, and as much as you love it, you can no longer keep up with the Joneses. It's not bringing you joy because it's bringing you stress every time you look at that $700 car note. It's not bringing you the right kind of joy. And it's something that you're going to have to get rid of. Maybe bringing you joy would be to focus on relationships that bring you happiness and fulfillment and living in the moment instead of always worrying about the future, when the future is going to get here, or worrying about, as we said before, about the past, about how things didn't go right. Maybe those things that aren't giving you joy, and what is going to bring you joy is focusing on the present and living in the now and spending time with your loved ones, with your family, your friends, and focus on the moment. So I encourage you as individuals to surround yourself with positive influences and also engage in activities and things that will bring you joy. Well, you guys, that's it. I hope that all my tips was very helpful for you so that you consider what is it that you need to take access of in your life, what things you need to let go, what things you need to add into your life, and to be able to move on and enjoy this year for 2024. Until next time, I love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment down below if you can. Until next time, bye.